First, an Aboriginal man who was shot by police in central New South Wales last week might struggle to walk again. 32-year-old Dennis Doolan has been in an induced coma for the last 4 days, but doctors are going to try to wake him tomorrow. Eliana Lawford reports.
The Doolan family have been at Orange Base Hospital for days, anxiously waiting for their brother and son to wake up.
I've got no heart left. Honestly, looking at my boy laying on the bed like that, he shouldn't be laying there.
Dennis Doolan was shot in the lower back during a confrontation with police last Thursday. Doctors say the bullet is lodged deep in his hip and removing it won't be easy.
I'd have to pull apart the bone to remove it, which is probably going to be easy if they want him to live with the bullet rather than remove it, only because it could affect his ability to walk with removing bone off his hip and his pelvis.
It's still unclear why police shot Dennis or what led to this confrontation, but his family says there are no warrants out for his arrest, but that he's constantly being harassed by police due to petty crimes he committed in the past.
They're up and down my mother's street. It's like I said, it's just getting a bit of a joke. Now they've stopped strip searching. Now they're just shooting him. He's going to get shot at will every time he walks around. Like I said, it's like he's an animal and they left him laying in the middle of the road.
I'm lost for words for what happened to my boy. It shouldn't have happened to him.
The Doolans think police went too far and they've contacted lawyers to help them get answers. In a statement to NITV, police have said they're investigating all of the events surrounding the shooting, including the discharge of a police weapon. Once the critical incident investigation team has finished their investigation, it will be subject to an independent review.
Well, David Shoebridge is a New South Wales Greens parliamentarian. He has responsibility for justice and is concerned about the inquiry into the Doolan shooting. He joins me now. Let's look at where this is at right now. What are the issues that you have with the investigation?
Well, I think the first one is the lack of independence. For years now, people have been saying it's time to stop police investigating police when we have these critical
and that's
incidents.
What we have here. We have Tamworth investigating Cowra.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, when you read the police media releases, there's only been 2 on this, but each time they say that the investigation will be subject to independent review. And when they say it'll be subject to independent review, it just means another local area command will be investigating what happened in Cowra.
And why wouldn't you have confidence in that process? Why can't police be able to carry out those sort of investigations in an open and transparent and accountable way?
Well, no one organisation can be judge, jury and executioner. And if you really want the community, and particularly the Aboriginal community, to have a sense of independence in investigation, of faith in the outcome, well, you need someone independent of the organisation that has conducted itself in a way to be doing the investigation.
So what sort of oversight should there be here? What sort of independence would you like to see?
Well, we need an independent statutory body that comes in when you have these critical incidents. When someone is shot or seriously injured in the course of police duties, you need somebody other than police investigating the conduct of the police on the day. And you know, it's not a hard thing to ask for. The United Kingdom has an independent police oversight body that comes in what's called the golden hour after after an incident like this.
But something like that is still not in prospect, is it?
Well, no, and in fact, remarkably, while we're talking, there's legislation that's before the New South Wales Parliament that is doing one good thing. It's reviewing police oversight. And creating just a single police oversight body in New South Wales. But
again,
buried in that...
a police oversight body of the police.
Well, no, there's going to be an independent statutory body, a law enforcement conduct organisation which will be independent of the police and oversighting police behaviour. But there's a part of the legislation that says that independent oversight body is prohibited from undertaking reviews of police critical incidents. The one thing you want done.
So an incident like this with Dennis Doolan would not fall into that category. It would be a critical incident, so it wouldn't be investigated by the separate body.
And we continue to have police investigating police. Now that legislation will be coming before the New South Wales Upper House next week, and we will be moving amendments to try and say, no, when you've got a critical incident, when somebody, such as in the Doolan case, has been seriously injured and potentially lethally injured with a police shooting, that the investigation should be done by the independent statutory body.
What are the questions around this particular incident that you would still seek answers to?
Well, it starts with the use of a firearm in the first place. I mean, there were clearly multiple police around and only one individual who they were surrounding at or about the time of his shooting, and we've seen some clearly independent photographs of that.
And there were different reports as to whether he was armed or what he was armed with or when he was armed?
Well, the police reports were at some point that he had been armed, and then when you read down into those reports, it turns out that what he was armed with was at best a screwdriver, it appears. Although later police report seems to suggest that the police are now saying that he was potentially armed with the handle of a mattock or something at the time of the shooting.
And acting in a threatening manner, but how is that defined?
Well, we haven't got any detail at all about that. And what we do know is that he was shot in or about the buttocks, the lower back or the buttocks. Now, that would suggest that whoever shot him wasn't facing an assault by him. Of course, he may have been assaulting somebody else, but as a general rule, you're not shot in the buttocks when you're confronting somebody.
And you are not confident that you will get the answers that you seek right now to these questions?
Well, it's not just myself who's not confident. I think, by and large, Aboriginal people in New South Wales are not confident that there is that independence when you have one part of the police investigating another, particularly when you've had something as serious as a police shooting.
Right, David, good to have you on. Thank you.
Pleasure, Sam.
Well, aspiring